a second-hand coat. I want a yacht, not a cheap little boat. I tell my daddy not to be depressed. All I need for happiness is the best. I want a diamond, nothing else has appeal. And when it comes to men, you know how I feel. I want a real man. Give me a real man, you know what I mean. I want a real man. Oh, real man, you're what I need.
Hey guys, what's up? Hey. Check what Sutton's wearing.
I know, it's a very nice dress.
Christ. Hey, welcome to Real Men. I'm your host, Tim Steeves. This is the show where men get real. We've got a great panel assembled, so let's meet them. Jean-Paul dropped in today. JP.
How you doing? What's going on?
How are you, man? Also joining us, Noam Rosen is here. Hey, Noam.
Hello, Tim.
What is up,
friends.
Noam?
So many things. So little time.
Also, Krista Sutton's here.
Buongiorno.
Hey, Krista.
How are you?
And Kedar as well. Good to see you, Kedar.
Oh, good to be seen again.
And that's how actually we're going to get this segment kicked off. Throw it over to Kedar for a commentary. Go ahead, man.
All right. Is there a cone of silence around the sexual abuse of boys? And since boys are not taught to give voice to their feelings, the sexual abuse rarely goes reported. Choosing rather these boys to live in silence and self-condemnation, feeling somehow that they brought it upon themselves. But not until recent years have men started to talk about their sexual abuse experiences as a child. Usually at the hands of people whom they trusted, men in authority, their priests, some teachers, some coaches, and many of them related to them. What can be done to stop this? How can you and I empower young children, young boys, to speak up about these abuses? These are some of the things we're going to talk about today on Real Men, but I, for one, I have a suggestion. How about castration? And no, I'm not talking about injection. That's far too humane. I'm talking about getting a chopping block and making eunuchs out of these devils. What do you say, Tim?
Well, that sounds good. That's a good start. You've posed some great questions, Kedar. Nice job. What do you think, JP? Is there anything that we can do? Where do we start, JP?
I think we've already started. Sheldon Kennedy, the hockey player, I think that's a great step in coming out because, I mean, if you see, because a lot of guys or kids view their heroes, whether they be sports heroes or actors, and for them to step out and say, hey, you know what, I play the most manly sport of hockey, and I fight, and I shoot, and I score, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's great. Just
it happened to me as well.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
And he's not ashamed about it, and you're not supposed to be ashamed. I think we need to get it out there.
Yeah, people talk about celebrities and their causes, and this is the best use of that, is somebody coming out and saying, it was me, and because that's, I mean, aside from the problem itself, that's the biggest problem, is these guys aren't coming forward. And
They don't seemingly have anywhere to turn.
Well, many of these young boys live in fear of their abusers. Many times, especially, they're related to them, so they threaten them. Some of them give them certain concessions if it's a father or an uncle, so that they wouldn't talk up. And so they live in fear of these men, and many times they really believe that no one would believe them because I'm a boy. Maybe if I was a girl, they'd believe me more.
And also, and girls, I guess, are taught to be a little more open about these kind of things going on.
Well, lately.
I think guys as well, probably as a kid, you're probably worried about people will make fun of you and consider you, even though you're not a man, but maybe consider you less masculine. So you figure, hey.
Young kids
Sorry,
already...
JP. Noam, do you think that there's a lot more Sheldon Kennedys out there? Obviously there is. Do you think more people have to come out? Is that the best starting place?
Well, yeah, of course, because there has to be discussion. I mean, there's probably just as many boys abused as girls, but they just may not talk about it more, which is a tragedy because, you know, we've got a whole sort of women's empowerment movement saying, yeah, you got to stick up for yourself, and a guy does something, you just tell him to back off, no means no, that whole thing. So, I mean, but guys, people sometimes just kind of let them slip through the cracks, and then nobody tells them how to act, and next thing you know, they're being abused and not even realizing they're victims. You know?
And I have no idea about the stats on this, so don't, you know, hold me to it. But you know, with guys, there's a whole other layer, because a lot of the times the perpetrator is a male. So there's a whole other layer of a fear of, you know, not that there should be, but like a homosexuality aspect to it, and there's a whole other level.
Well,
of
Kedar, is that a part of it? Is that boys don't even realize when they've been abused? I mean, that's got to be part of it.
That's part of it as well. I mean, these are young children. Some of them, the abuse starts as young as 3 and up to
And
in and
younger,
or
yeah.
as teenagers. So it almost becomes a part of their belief system that this is how I should behave
This is just
as
how
a
it
man.
is.
This is just how it is,
is
you
how
know.
my life
and
is, yeah.
you know what? There are not as many stats as in Canada as there are in the States. But in the States, 20% of these boys do go on to become abusers themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Feeling that this is how it's done.
I mean, it's got to be a weird thing, because I'm sure when it happens to you at a young age, what then happens is like you know it's wrong, or it feels wrong. Not that it's wrong by it happening to you,
Yeah,
but you're
you
like,
don't
you know what?
identify.
And as a kid, you're like, do I tell someone? You know, and then you don't want to tell anyone, and then you feel kind of.
Yeah, kids
you
may
know,
not
and you grow
understand
up with
exactly
that.
what the wrong part is, but they know they feel bad.
They know it feels.
Well, that brings up a good
know?
point, Noam, is that the parents probably need some education as well as recognizing that your kid has a problem that goes beyond bullying or something.
Yeah, I mean, but in a lot of cases, it's like parents who aren't really maybe, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has to do the job of explaining to these kids that they can just go to somebody. But at the same time, it's like a hard time, because it's when guys are already developing their sexuality. They're developing their sexuality through this whole time.
Yeah.
It's so
So
confusing
it's
anyway.
confusing
the whole
anyways,
time.
you know?
I think there aren't a lot of support groups or counseling for this. Like, I mean,
boys.
not just for boys, but I mean for kids in general as well. Like, I mean, who do you go to and who do you speak to and who
There
you
is,
know,
but it's hard to
educate?
find.
Exactly.
It's hard
but
to
I'm
find,
saying,
and who's going to go through the effort when they're already feeling
I think as a
crappy.
society we need to protect the kids, those who can't protect themselves or don't have a voice. But when you're an adult, I
Yeah.
mean, you can have a group that's, you know, against AIDS or it's against gay bashing or whatnot. And I think we need to look at the kids, because
Well,
the
kids
kids are
need
the
more
ones who don't
advocates
protect.
in society anyway.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know
You know what?
Yeah,
It begins at home, though. It begins with the parents, first of all, empowering their kids and letting them know, look,
Assuming
if this
there's
happens,
parents.
whether it's in the home, assuming there is
Assuming
parents.
there's parents,
But you know what?
you know?
You know what? People that have kids need to start being parents and not just being,
There
you
it
know,
is.
Total
those
agree.
that just bear
Yeah.
kids and just have them going out there willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Be there for your child. Empower them. Let them
Raise
know
them.
that you're there. Raise your children.
Nice job. That's great, panel. Good job on a tough topic. And if you're somebody who needs help or you know somebody that needs help, the Kids Help phone is 1-800-668-6868. Pick up the phone, get some help. When we come back from this break, we're going to switch it up, have some more fun. We'll be talking about sports, golfing, fishing. Are they really sports? Coming back. Nice job. Welcome back to Real... Look, it's Krista on television. Welcome back to Real Men. We're going to have a little more fun this segment. We're going to talk about Zen sports and male bonding. You know what I mean? Like golfing, fishing, that sort of stuff. And Krista Sutton's going to kick it off. Go ahead, Krista.
Gone fishing. There's a sign up on the door. Gone fishing. I ain't working anymore. You guys have got this right. I mean, no matter how many jokes I can make about the not-so-subtle body language of holding a golf club or a fishing rod in your hands, you guys have got this right. I mean, girls, if we're having trouble, we fight things out, talk it to death. You guys, come on, pal. Let's go fishing. Come on, pal. Let's have a round of golf. And the mist on the golf course and on the river and the gentle whoosh, the rhythm of the golf club. Not a lot of talking, just a beer in your hand. You guys have got this right. And no matter if you put a real sign up on the door, gone fishing, or it's just an imagined one, I know that you guys have gone to church. And you know what? I kind of wish sometimes I could come along. Tim?
Well, you're welcome to come.
well.
No one's going to go golfing without you, Krista, for sure. What do you think, Noam? Is it because we don't have to talk? Is that the thing? The men have something to do, so the conversation is...
Men just like being in the company of men and doing an activity that they have in common and not talking about it. That's just what guys like to do.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
It is great. I actually go to a fishing cottage, but I don't actually fish. But I like just sitting around playing cards, hearing guys break wind and not complain. You know what I mean? It's
all
great.
good.
Not having anyone
See, I
complain.
think this is part of the secret. You say you're going to a fishing lodge, but really you're just hanging out.
Well, that's what it is, because I mean, when you fish or you go golfing, it's never with someone you don't know. It's not like, hey, dude, let's go golfing or fishing. It's usually it's guys' time to talk about stuff. And you'll
short
start,
chunks.
yeah, you'll start fishing, and
really
then
small.
ooh, that one's biting. By the way, she's cheating on me. That kind of thing. It's like, what? Where the hell did this come from?
I know, like
So it's
there's
our
something
own little,
deeper going on.
It's our own little Oprah time.
You know what it is? It takes a while. It takes like at least a couple hours for guys to just get in the place where they're like, oh yeah, I am friends with this person and I can talk to them.
Yeah. That's why these sports always have either weed or beer involved.
Or fish.
Or fish.
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 Yes.
But
The big
historically, men
bass.
have rallied around sport to become friends and as a symbol of bonding and coming together. It's always been sport. You just think about when you were a little kid. It was an activity that gave you your best friend today, whereas women just, sit around and just talk
Well,
and
that's
eat.
not true in my case, but you seem to be saying it was, but I disagree with you.
What was
I
You're not a
didn't mean
sport
my-
dude? No?
So historically,
No, I mean, I played some sports. I actually, played rugby. That's a very bonding kind of ritualistic kind of sport.
But what do you do when you're getting together with the guys? Like, do you play cards or?
Well, I play cards on Fridays,
There
if you
you
must
go,
know. I
see?
play poker on Friday nights, and
How much is that about the bonding, and how much is about winning some money?
It's a gambling thing, but it is about the bonding, which takes place by having very little conversation over long periods of time.
That's
That's
do you
bonding.
play with the same guys all the time?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you know these guys pretty well.
It's
and-
guy time.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just guy time. It's about guy time.
Yeah.
Fishing, golf, all these things. It's
And
guy time.
I actually prefer to play poker with my woman.
Well, sure, poke whoever you want. I don't care who you're
Poker.
poking.
JP
And I'm
was making a
actually-
joke there.
None of my business.
And I'm actually not even trying to suck up when I say this, that girlfriends who are threatened by this golf time or Zen fishing time are missing the mark.
They
Because,
are.
Totally.
No, but seriously, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm totally sucking up.
Shopping
And I am,
is a Zen
'cause
sport
no,
for women,
but-
isn't it?
Pardon me?
Shopping is a Zen sport for women, isn't it?
Sure, it's not really a sport, but there are certain things that we do to
competitive,
bond.
It is a sport.
It is competitive.
I've seen women
Actually, you know what? Yeah.
Women have laid out some plans and tactics for shopping,
Keep
like
your arms
like
and
an
limbs.
NFL football team. Man, okay, you block the sales lady, and I'll rush straight to the sale rack. And it's like,
I thought Noam made a good point about how a male conversation over a poker game can take 6 hours, and you might talk about one thing. You know what I mean?
Men can have enjoyment without discussing it.
But,
think that's
we are
Yeah.
we are discussing it, but we're tricking ourselves into thinking that we're not actually discussing something.
It's about, with
Through the
poker,
activity,
it's
yeah.
about the
existing.
game. With fishing and golf, it's about the game. It's not how the game goes, it's how people play. Because that's where all the personality comes out and how you play games.
And all the ribbing of each other.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that's
I
all part of it.
love you
That's all part
guys
of
because
it.
you're
Totally.
fun at golf.
Yeah, if you can.
But it's the love.
If you can get on your buddy pretty good, that's a reveal of how tight you guys are.
Yeah.
Totally.
for sure.
And also, it's
Totally.
during these bonding things that guys usually talk about their feelings more than they like to admit, even.
Hey.
It may slip out in like a, oh, that was really funny when you folded, I love you.
That's a good out, Noam.
It does come
Let's
out.
get out on that. We're coming back in a minute. Next segment, we're going to talk about relationship deal breakers. What's the deal breaker for you? And we talked to Buddy on the street and asked him, too. What's a relationship deal breaker for you?
If they're too hairy, man, I don't like the hairy ladies.
Look at JP in the monitor. He's all freaked out. This segment, we're going to talk about relationship deal breakers. What's the straw that broke us up? JP, you look like you're a man that's ready to make a point. Go ahead.
A relationship deal breaker is pretty much a woman who won't sleep with me. But
That'll break the deal
that'll
right
break
there.
the deal.
A lot.
You know what's weird? I think for me, a relationship deal breaker, and I don't want to sound all sensitive, but I guess a woman who doesn't allow me to be me and express myself is like, you know what? Love me for who I am, and I love
Oh, damn it. Love JP, damn it. Take me as me.
So
I need a hug,
hard to
man.
find
So
that.
sensitive.
Hold him.
might have to-
Kedar, rock him.
Relationship deal breakers are guys that want to hug. Dressed in.
Oh my God, you guys are breaking up?
Stop it, not out here.
What would it be for you, Kedar?
He's all flustered. He
seriously,
can't
first.
speak.
No, I'm
But
sweating
seriously,
now.
folks.
No, it would have to be just someone who's unfaithful. I mean that goes to the max, but
that's the big
you
one,
just
isn't it?
can't trust them. You just can't trust them.
Yeah, that's the major one.
That's
for
the
sure.
major
Maybe
one.
that's
Okay,
even
but wait,
mentioned as a
hang
deal
on.
breaker.
Hang on, not to
Well,
cut you off,
let's get
Krista.
Noam and Krista in here.
Yeah, let's
first
get Noam
round.
in here.
Let's get the Noamster in.
Let's find out what
Deal breaker, I have to say, if somebody argues about something for over 100 hours and then you can't work it out, and you can't decide to sort of just say we agree to disagree.
I think you're full of crap. See,
I'm okay with that.
I was trying to argue with you.
See, I'm okay with that.
I'm trying to argue with them.
See, there, we just
you
worked
need
it out.
Too much
another 90
fighting,
hours.
no?
Too much fighting. Who wants to fight all the time?
It's
You know
amazing
what
how
I
many
mean?
relationships that are scrappy that stay together for 100 years, man. It's wild.
Well, yeah, because they both like fighting in that
Yeah.
case, maybe. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if there's one
They
person
get
who
to
really
make
likes
up.
it, yeah, they get to make up all the time. It's all dramatic. It's heightened sensitivity.
For you, Krista? Deal breaker?
The not being able to be myself thing is a big one.
And that is big with you because you're a pretty unique cat. You know, you like your hockey. You like, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, if a guy wants you to be a certain way, I can't deal with that.
Like
and also
mommy.
guys who get
Guys-
threatened by that. You know, if they're threatened,
Right.
you know, by a woman who
What were you going to say, JP,
is
before
a
I
better
cut you off
golfer,
there, man?
for example.
Kedar was talking about like infidelity and not being able to trust someone, and I don't really remember the point I was trying to make, but you guys threw
Because
it.
you
But
didn't have one.
no, I had a
You
point.
got to be able to trust them.
I think, but
Yeah.
in all seriousness about infidelity and whatnot, sometimes could you actually say that you drive someone to cheat on you? Because if you take someone for granted and you totally neglect your whole relationship, then I mean, what is that person
Well, of
supposed to
course,
do?
Yeah, that's a given. That's a given. That will happen. Someone
Wait a
can do that. But you know
No,
what?
they should talk
But
to
no,
you.
yeah, there's discussions leading up that would lead up to that. You know, where have you been? You know, how come
Who the
you're
hell
not
is that
home?
in my bed?
It's stuff like that.
Well,
I don't even. Sorry,
Is
I
there
don't see infidelity.
justifiable cheating? I guess is the question on the boards right now. No?
Yes.
Justifiable
Absolutely
cheating?
not.
Yes, there is.
No.
There is.
I mean,
We're
if
asking
the
Noam
other
now,
person's
JP.
cheating, I guess it's okay if you're cheating, if you want to be in a cheating relationship.
What about the shallow reasons for deal breakers, like on the Seinfeld episode when it's always like, oh, she's left-handed, I can never see her again.
Or Mike Myers, she smells like soup. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything like that? No. Have you ever been with anyone that just drove you away
She's
for
hairier
a
than
silly
me.
reason?
Oh, yeah, I had one once. It was because she was a kindergarten teacher.
Right.
And she would, like, correct my spelling.
Put a little star on the
She would
fridge?
talk to you. Hi, Nomi.
Yeah, really patronizing. It drove me nuts.
That's funny.
That'd be cool for about a week.
She would stick Noam's love letters on the front of the fridge, too. Which
And after they
always
finished making love, she put a gold star on his forehead.
Yeah.
With little fruit magnets.
But for some
Yeah,
guys,
or
the
a silver
masculinity
one, or
thing
whatever.
comes into context where she makes more money than me, and I can't handle that. And
That bugs you?
No,
Really?
but for some men, it could bother them.
Man, I wish I had a
that
rich
drives
woman.
me crazy that they're threatened that if they can't handle.
Bring it on, I say.
Yeah.
So that's what
No,
I get.
I want her to make more money and more time golfing for me.
I would
It's
love
great.
to be Stedman. Like Oprah's
Oh,
man.
that would be beautiful.
or Bobby Brown. I would be Bobby Brown
a
easy,
dream.
man. I'm be Miss Whitney Houston. I don't get
Miss
Change my
Whitney
name.
Houston, that's a horrible example.
Why?
Libel suits aside, we didn't mention it.
She's rich. She's loaded.
Bobby goes out, gets hammered, pulls his gun out, gets into the can. She comes, bails him out. What's
That's what
wrong
I'm
with that?
saying.
crashes her car.
What's the problem with that?
This is all I have to say about
My
that.
lawyer
has a
said not
problem
to say
with that.
anything
What about
more.
you, Tim? You have an answer. What's a deal breaker for you?
I don't know. I guess the trust thing's huge, and usually with me, the deal breaker comes from me. You know, usually they dump my ass for a
Oh,
legitimate reason.
no.
No, I mean really.
So all you ladies, send your
got
letters to Tim Steeves, sensitive host. Real man.
Deal breaker.
You know what I mean? Though, JP, usually it's my fault. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, sometimes I think now that I'm older, I'm getting a little more aware of what women like, because I'm comfortable with myself. And I mean, do you think women find that attractive, that a man? Because I find women find like confidence and security really attractive.
Oh yeah, confidence, security, and being able to. I love a guy who just can say it like it is. Like this. Hey, you want to hang out and grab a beer? No. Are you asking me out? Like, ask me out.
Is it a date?
All right.
All
Would you-
right.
I'm going to be decisive right now and throw us to break. And when we come back from this break, we'll talk some more about relationship deal breakers for a couple more minutes. How's that, Krista?
That's good. Nice
Decisive.
and clear.
Coming back. Like that?
Yeah.
Me too. I was all excited. Oh my gosh, you did do it.
Here's Krista on television. Look, you can see yourself right there.
No.
Hey, welcome back to Real Men. We're talking about relationship deal breakers. What would it take to drop him or her, the dead weight? Krista?
Speaking of dead weight in the old sack.
Oh, my.
Whoa.
Sorry, I gotta say it. Sorry, we're all
Put your
thinking
brakes
it.
on.
No,
If
say
you
it.
can't bring it in the sack, Krista,
Pardon me?
you got to be able to bring it in the sack.
Well, for crying out loud, they gotta
At least once
take
in a
care of
while.
us for crying.
At least
Yeah,
once in a while.
I'm done. Okay, good. Glad you're done. See
Oh,
ya.
that's horrible.
Krista, have you ever had to dump a guy just for no other reason except that he's horrible in bed? Like he's a
Well,
nice
there's
guy?
always some other reason, because there's some other reason why he's a little bit thick about it. But yeah, no, I've definitely.
Have you ever dumped a guy for being too good in bed?
No.
Okay, so there you go. There's your answer.
You're cleared for landing there, no.
Oh, he's so good. I
Yeah.
I can't take it
can't take it anymore.
Too good.
What was
No,
wrong?
that's definitely a deal breaker.
And now what kind of, let's stay with that for a second, Krista. What kind of things would he have to be inept with? Too early? Too early? You know what I'm saying?
Bumble,
Lazy
bumble.
lover.
Fumble bumble. No, not taking care of the woman.
What do you mean?
You know,
Oh.
being selfish.
Selfish in bed.
Yeah, it's just
That's good.
boring.
Well,
Shocker.
to all you ladies out there, I'm very unselfish and.
JP would like everyone to know.
This isn't
No,
But you would be surprised. It's
No,
it's
I
shocking
can
to me.
imagine. A lot of guys are very macho, and talking to a lot of guys and friends and whatnot, they're very they have like an agenda. Okay, I'll start here, then I'll lick that, then I'll kiss here, then I'll do this, and then I'll do that.
It's all very choreographed,
It's a checklist. Okay.
Okay, we did
breasts,
that. Don't need to
touch
go back.
them.
navel,
We touch them, we kiss those.
vagina, and let's get ready.
Kedar, what's the weirdest reason you've ever had
Honey,
to
we should be in
break up with
charge of
somebody?
checking it off. That's all I have to
What's the
say.
strangest thing you've ever had to break up with somebody about, Kedar?
Oh, tell me
Bad
about the
breath,
thing you
man.
told me, man, about how she didn't want to be videotaped having sex. Tell me about that one.
Oh, that, yeah, that's true.
deal
man.
breaker.
Yeah.
Bad
look at
breath,
the
did you say?
Bad breath.
Bad breath?
Yeah, she had
So what, you couldn't give her a
extremely-
toothbrush and some toothpaste
That didn't work.
and say, get the molars?
That
You
did
couldn't?
not. That didn't work. The
that's
flossing
horrible.
didn't work.
What about you, Noam? The
Tongue
strangest
scraping
reason
didn't work.
Strangest reason for deal breaking?
for breaking up with somebody.
Wow, you know, that's a tough one. There's been so many strange reasons.
Strange laugh,
You know,
Harry
I've
laugh.
actually been with girls who are bad in bed. That
Really?
has
How is a
happened.
woman
Sure.
bad in bed?
I guess.
I don't want to say.
Really? What
Come on,
do you
Noam.
don't want to say?
Well, you know, just being bad at it.
How
10 seconds, Noam. What was so bad about her? Come on.
Okay, teeth, then it wouldn't fit. There,
Hello!
I said it.
Thanks for
I said it.
tuning into Real Men. That's good, Noam. Thanks a lot. Good job, panel. Relationship deal breakers.
Maybe we
Fair
should
enough.
ask.
Tune in next time. Thanks for coming out.
I'm gonna get out of that.
The teeth.